of the crossover ability of Terence Crawford. He's a pound-for-pound best of this generation, arguably, but is he that crossover Wheaties box kind of superstar that can drive a promoter's card like it did the 80s with, let's say, Sugar Ray Leonard? Is he that kind of crossover star?
Absolutely not. I'm gonna be a buck with it. If you pay attention to the ticket sales, they're not doing that hot. I was just in LA calling the Chisora fight. I asked a couple of guys there, that local promoters there, and they said, no, the tickets are not really selling out there because, although Terence is a tremendous fighter, he still haven't reached that superstardom just yet. Not just yet. Remember, the last time he fought was about a year ago. I don't think he took full advantage of that, what he was able to generate then. If he would have fought a little bit sooner, maybe he could have, maybe sold out this place.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So that was Tim Bradley talking about the sales of this fight when it comes to Crawford versus Madrimov, saying it won't be a success and it won't sell out. Well, Turki Al-Sheikh, he just came out and announced that the fight has actually sold out in a 22,000 seat arena. Turki Al-Sheikh, he came out and he said to everyone, and Tim Bradley included, tickets for Riyadh season card, LA are sold out. Crawford, a true mega star and the #1 pound for pound. Very excited for the business opportunities ahead. Let me just start by saying this. It doesn't matter if Crawford is a mega star or not. He's the best fighter in the world, period. Guys, if you really have been paying attention, you'll notice old media, they only ask questions like that, like the guy he's asking Tim Bradley, is Crawford a star? Is he a crossover star? They only start to ask questions like that when a black fighter seems so dominant he can't be beat. Because if you notice, none of these guys are asking if Naoya Inoue or Alexander Usyk are crossover stars. Most of the time when Naoya Inoue has a fight coming up, people don't even know about it. Hell, I remember when old media was calling Roman Gonzalez the best fighter in the world. They were calling him the best fighter in the world. Nobody knew who Roman Gonzalez was. The first time I heard of him is when I seen his name on a pound for pound list, on a couple of pound for pound lists at #1. Old media's pound for pound list, of course, but nobody, and when I say nobody, no one knew who Roman Gonzalez was. And old media, they didn't care if people knew who Roman was or not. They never asked if he could become a crossover star because they knew he would never become a star. They didn't care about that. They were just happy to say that he was the best fighter in the world. What they're doing to Terence Crawford is the exact same thing they did to Devin Haney before he lost to a guy on steroids. It's the same thing that they did to Floyd Mayweather. When Floyd Mayweather was young, he was pretty boy, and he was fighting on HBO. Whenever he had a sensational performance knocking out his opponent, Larry Merchant, he would say, well, yeah, he had a great performance, but look at these seats over here. If you notice, it was a lot of empty seats here. This is what Larry would always say. I remember one time Floyd Mayweather was fighting Larry Merchant, he's calling it, and he shares this story. He says it was a time when the MGM Grand, they had this huge banner of Britney Spears on the side of the building. And Floyd Mayweather, he said to Bob Arum, why don't we put a poster of me on the side of the MGM Grand? And Bob Arum, he simply said, but you're not Britney Spears, meaning you're not a star. So Larry Merchant was pretty much agreeing with what Bob Arum said. Now, the irony of that story is once Floyd Mayweather left Top Rank, he became the biggest star in the sport of boxing, and the MGM Grand, they end up having this huge banner of Floyd Mayweather on their building year round. In fact, one year, Bob Arum, he was pissed with the MGM Grand because he was trying to promote his fight between Manny Pacquiao and Tim Bradley, and they had that huge banner of Floyd Mayweather on the front of the building, and they only had like some small banner of Manny Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley. And Bob Arum, he was livid about that. He was so mad about it that he was talking about it during the press conference to promote the Manny Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley fight. So not only was the MGM Grand promoting the Mayweather fight more than they promoted the Pacquiao versus Bradley fight, but Bob Arum, he helped to promote the Mayweather fight by bringing it up once again during the press conference of Manny Pacquiao's fight. Like I said, you guys remember when Devin Haney was fighting, he was getting bigger and bigger. He was becoming a bigger star. Then all of a sudden, old media, they start talking more about Devin Haney's ticket sales than Devin Haney himself. Because the truth is, they never cared about ticket sales. And they didn't care if he became a big crossover star. They just wanted to see him lose. What they're really saying to Terence Crawford is, we don't care how good you are. Yeah, you're pound for pound the best fighter in the world, but we don't like you. But at the end of the day, you don't have to like him. They want someone that has the complexion for the protection to become the best fighter in the world. They wanted Lomachenko to be in the position that Terence Crawford has been in for years and years and years. Not only was Lomachenko not a crossover star, but he wasn't a star at all. Almost every time Lomachenko fought, he fought in the smallest arenas. One of the only times that Lomachenko fought in a big arena is when he fought against Devin Haney. At the end of the day, if you're going to bring up the conversation of Terence Crawford being a crossover star or not, then you have to also bring up the racial component that exists in the sport of boxing in America. The fact that America is the only country that has fans rooting against their country to root for the foreigner. No other country does this. Not in the UK, not in Mexico, not in Japan, not in any other country do you see fans rooting against their own countrymen. I mean, if you're going to ask that question, can Terence Crawford become the next megastar, the next big crossover? You should also be asking the rhetorical question, how is it possible that an American fighter as dominant as Crawford has been for years and years, he's 37 years old and still considered the best fighter in the world. He has knocked out all of his opponents at welterweight, including Errol Spence, in the biggest fight of this generation. How is it possible he's not a crossover big star? How is it possible he's not being praised and received the same way Gennady Golovkin was being received in this country? That's the question that should have been asked. When Terence Crawford knocked out more of his opponents than Golovkin did, and he did it in a more impressive fashion against better competition. Other fighters on a pound-for-pound list and other fighters in general are extremely impressed with Terence Crawford's skills, his ability. They're in awe of everything he does in the ring. Naoya Inoue, he came out praising Terence Crawford. Recently, he came out and he said that he was really impressed with the way Terence Crawford beat Errol Spence. Alexander Usyk, he recently came out praising Terence Crawford, picking him to beat a Canelo Alvarez. He broke it down explaining why Crawford is such a special fighter. Something else that needs to be said. Terence Crawford as a boxer, he does everything that he's supposed to do. He does his job. It is the promoter's job to promote the fighter and make him a bigger star. And that's what Turki Al-Sheikh is already doing. You heard Turki Al-Sheikh come out. He said it's a sellout and he is a megastar. He's promoting his fighter, and that's what promoters are supposed to do. That is what promoters get paid for. You see, Floyd Mayweather, once again, he came up with the great idea, why don't we put this big banner of me on the building? That's how a promoter is supposed to think. You're supposed to find ways to make your fighter a star or just make him bigger than what he was. At the end of the day, Terence Crawford is every single thing that these race fans want in a fighter. They just want him to come in a different color. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to lodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.